So he got under there, and the first one was back arch, butt off the thing. I'm going, oh, he can't be going for 2 because, I don't see anybody else around him. And he went for 2, and he screamed, and the girl was like trying to lift him off him, and it was like, so 2 guys ran over, lifted it off him, and I was like, now what do you say?
Exactly.
Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Muscle matters. Doesn't it, Steve?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, we're here with the guy. And Steve, I'm just going to tell you, he's got you bested on width.
Yes, he does. Shoot.
Ed Martinez is here, and he's just set some
impressive records.
Impressive records.
Like every time I think I could, I'm going to go be strong. And, I tell myself, I could probably, without breaking a sweat, do bench 4 or 5 again, squat 5 or 6, deadlift 6. I could do that without a break. But then there's going to be this dude right here who's going to come out and open up with 700. And I'm going to be like,
you're the guy with that friend.
Yes, and that's why when people ask, I go, Steve, you gonna lift? I go, no, I live vicariously through him, right there.
I love it. I was watching when your post came out, and I loved it when your post came out because you were just gonna thank. It was funny because not funny. It was. I thought it was a great tribute when you said you got to lift in front of your sons.
My daughters.
Your daughters.
My daughters.
Right. Yeah, your daughters.
My daughters.
And I never competed when my daughters were young, but I thought, what a great thing for a dad to do, to set records in front of
impressive
his
ones.
daughters. Yes.
It was more about, done it for a little while. So, when you do it for a while, the numbers are good, all that stuff is great, but this prep was a little harder, leading up personal life things, just death in the family, a couple illnesses here and there, and it takes its toll. And this, you bodybuilding, if your emotions aren't where they're supposed to be when you're training, if you're not focused when you're there, it takes a toll. It takes a toll physically. It was rough. I didn't want to give up because even though my kids are 21 and 17, but they're looking up at you.
Yeah,
they're looking up, and especially my youngest one started showing a little bit more interest in asking questions. Dad, how are you feeling? Are you okay? And stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'm fine. And I'm not fine, but I'm fine.
Well, it's funny because I told Steve I've wanted to have you on the show for what?
Yes.
Ever since we've been talking about this.
Right.
And then I said, how about having Ed on the show? And he goes, not right now because he's getting ready to lift. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I get that.
Yeah. It was a little tough.
Yeah.
And that was my purpose of that post. And I was kind of I'm not good. I'm not showing much, but it was an emotional day because I did way better than I expected to do. To be honest, it was
impressive. It really was.
I had a couple of injuries that I was dealing with too. The bench press, while impressive at that age group, it is okay. In the open, in that age group, it's okay. It's a great bench press. I can bench hard more than that. I've been dealing with some nerve issues on my.
It was your. If I remember, it was a tricep.
Yes, right? A tricep and an elbow, and I was glad, I was happy because I performed. I pushed it. I said that day I was like, I'm gonna blow it. I'm gonna blow it here. I pushed it and it was fine. Nothing happened. I was fine. I'm healed, and it was great to do that when my kids were there and them to see it and I hear them. Posted one of the videos I posted is I could hear my daughter yelling at me, "Come on, Dad, pick it up," and stuff. And and it's awesome. I'm a dad. I'm a dad.
I'm envious because I never had that, but it's cool to live through someone who did have that, and be able, because they'll never forget that.
No, and it was fun. It was fun. It was really, really fun.
So Steve, you're the pilot on this one, Steve. So
no, I'm good because I think with the audience, like Ed's, what are you now, grandmaster?
What
in your class?
No, it's they're just masters, but they give you rankings, and yes, you're the I can't remember the rankings. It's I think it's elite, whatever. So I've got on the open, I'm one below, and then the masters, yes, I'm at whatever the ranking is. I think it's elite, international elite, whatever.
There aren't
in
a
other
few
words, he's
people
good,
ahead
good.
of this.
So-
Very
Good,
good,
good.
at this.
So it's okay. I'm just happy and that I'm blessed to be able to continue to do this. We were talking about being an older athlete, and so you train with that in mind. You know that you can't train like when him and I used to train together, and we used to talking about 3-hour sessions, 2-minute breaks, and just pedal to the metal.
Just pushing each other.
Yeah, there's days that are now there are days that are, man, this hurts today. I better back up a little bit. But I have a great training partner. I mean, the only two people that can actually get a rise out of me in the gym. I'm at that whole, you get to that age where you go, yeah, been there, done that. You see the kids that are trying to even challenge you or something, and you're like, no, the only two people that can get a rise out of me are him and my training partner with just one word. And it'll light a fire in my butt.
And if I'm not mistaken, your training partner is Evan.
Evan, yeah.
I love Evan.
Yes.
And where have you been, Evan?
Yes.
I've been looking for you, brother. We used to talk all the time. We used to meet every Wednesday.
He's happy.
He's in love.
He's happy.
Is
Oh,
he?
he's in
Oh,
love.
I'm
He's
so happy for you. But we do need to see each
Yes.
other. But I did. When I saw that, I just know, that you've had to have been a support for him through all the things he's came through.
I'm trying. We kind of give it to each other pretty good when we train.
He is. Tell us, and I don't want to hog Steve's time. Tell us where this all started. We've got a United States international record holder. Push it back. If you look back at the younger Ed, would you have said this is the path that I would have seen him on, or vicariously? I mean, I fell into bodybuilding. I mean, honestly, I fell into it. People ask how I started. I go, you can't do it. I mean, and I'm the underachieving Mr. California. I tell that all the time. You've heard me say it over and over again because I accomplished things internationally, but I never went on to stand on the Olympia stage. So I just tell people, I go, hey, I didn't fulfill what was there as I look backwards, but I'm good with it. I know God had another plan for me. So how about Ed?
Same thing. It was more to get better at football. My first love was football.
Always another sport, right?
Football.
Ancillary
Football.
way to get
Right.
better at another sport.
But my uncle was a very big influence on that. When I was still back in Mexico, he'd come, and every time he'd come and bring me a Muscle Mag, a Muscle Fitness. It started the same thing with the little. My dad bought me that first set of the weeder weights with the cement inside and stuff, the plastic covered weights. I started the same way and just fumbling through it. Doing things. Benching on a chair, take it back out of the chair. You'd learn how to bench.
You ruined your mother's furniture.
Building
Right? They're like, where did that go? We're like,
yes.
In the backyard.
We used to use Folgers coffee cans, and we couldn't wait for them to drink it all, so we'd pour it into baggies.
Exactly.
And my mother goes, what'd you guys do with the cans? Poured semen in it.
Yeah.
To lift weights.
Making a rickety squat rack in the back with some cinder blocks and some wood.
Yeah, I love that. Those were the best, though.
Yes.
The hunger was real. I mean, because who else sitting outside with his 30 degrees with a tank top on because you thought you were a stud?
Oh, you thought you were cool. Yeah, 130 pounds, 150
I
pounds.
love that.
So that's where it started. And then it never really stopped. First time I went to an organized gym, did that for a couple of years, and I went to the gym, and like anybody else, any other kid, you're eyes wide open, intimidated. But, you have all the
Juices flowing.
the vinegar and the blood and stuff, and you think you know it all, and you go out there and I think the local bodybuilders there, guys who in their mid-20s, I'm 15, and I was a bigger kid already, and one of the first times I benched 315, ugly, is all outdoors, but they kind of took an interest in the
Isn't that always it?
yeah.
Everybody wants to see,
Yeah.
The bull.
Yeah, they took
buck.
an interest in the
And
young.
once he bucks,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, yeah.
Took an interest in the young kid that was in there making a fool of himself, and I was literally come on, you're quiet and you rack and unrack the weights.
Yes.
You don't have to say anything.
And you push us.
Yes, that's it. You get to go in there and keep your mouth shut and get the abuse, and you get to rack and unrack the weights.
Your turn is after we're done.
Exactly. And I was
That's
happy
funny.
to do it at the time. You know,
Oh, I know.
that's how you learn.
Well, it's like if you're out there thinking there's an easy way, Ed's telling you, you earn your stripes.
Yeah, you have
do,
to. You
yeah.
have to. You tell you how many times they left you. Come on, man, give me another rep. And if you didn't get it, they leave you there with it to do the whole. Oh man.
People would think that's abuse nowadays, right?
You get in so much trouble now.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
it's funny. I was telling these guys the other day, I saw a young man come into a body exchange, and he put 4 plates on. And I go, oh, this is going to be. I told you this, didn't I? I go, this is going to be fun. I was on the treadmill. I'm not really working out. I'm just sitting there going, this is. And the only person that was there with him was his girlfriend. And I go, huh? So he had 4 plates on. And I go, okay. So he got under there, and the first one was back arch, butt off the thing. And I'm going, oh, he can't be going for 2 because, I don't see anybody else around him. And he went for 2, and he screamed, and the girl was like trying to lift him off him. And it was like, so 2 guys ran over and lifted it off him. And, I was like, now what do you say?
Exactly.
What did you learn?
What did you learn?
Yeah. I go, I got entertained.
Yes.
I've told everybody that story.
Yeah,
You're out there and it was you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I tell people.
Gravity is the great equalizer. The eagle and gravity, they are 2 things that do not get along, and gravity wins every single time.
And that was the fun part about the sport that we share love in, is that at one point, weight's going to make you have better form.
Right.
And if you got lousy form, a lot of weight will make you have good
And
form.
one of the things you have to learn about learning in general, and especially if it's something that you like or something that you love, for the things that you like or that you love, you don't mind making a fool out of yourself to learn something. And that's how you know you like something. It's like, I don't care how I look. I want to learn.
You just don't do it again.
Yeah, just don't do it again. Don't do that thing that hurt. Don't do that again. So
I love it. So injuries. We got a lot of young guys out there, and of course, being where we're at, we had guys come to us and said, hey, you might want to consider doing it differently.
right.
And we're like, no, we're doing just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when it comes into our wheelhouse, but when we go, okay, I see what they were saying.
Right.
So as you've been training all these years, it's not if, it's when you get injured.
Exactly.
I know you've had those. What do you usually do? Because a lot of people can have a roadblock in their life, and what would you usually do to overcome those?
And that's the part that they don't tell you about, the mental part.
Yes.
The I'm going along, I'm checking along, I'm doing this, that, and then I can't do it today because I'm injured. And then you have to do something else to get back to where you were at. And physically, it's not about the physical part. Everybody can do it. It's just dealing with especially depending on the age group. 20s that's the hardest. That putting your ego to the side and learning to go, man, as you get a little older and you start, more educated in the sport, you learn that, okay, I need to back off. I need to back off, and I need to do this, and this if I were going to continue to do that. Because obviously doing this the same way is giving me the same result.
What I loved about what you and Steve have done with powerlifting is there is a lot of strategy.
Right.
First lift, second lift, third lifts. There's a lot of gaming.
Right.
That goes on, right, Steve? I see a smile come to his face. And people understand that.
Right.
It's interesting how you think, these guys do nothing but lift a lot of weight and do it. Well, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
But how many times does it go like that when it gets to a meet and the guy opens up with another weight?
Right. Well, you get there, and either way, or you get there, and people are like, what are you doing for this weight? Well, I was like, well, I don't like talking about what you're going to break any records. It's like, well, we kind of have something mapped out. And especially, that's the cool thing about training, Evan and I training together. We it's almost seamless. It's like, we wait to the first attempt, and then you look at me, I look at him, it's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Or back it off, or yes, this felt great, or this doesn't feel as good, or even during the warm-ups. How do you feel? Feels good. You go up, go down. That's the great part of having a training partner like him.
That speaks to you and Evan's intelligence versus versus others. And I'm gonna harp on you two being very intelligent in the sport versus others, because you guys are smart enough to understand not everything is going to go the way it's
Right, and that happens to everybody. It's just, and I think we just built a good working relationship, a good rapport.
It's almost trust.
It is trust. It is trust. When you're a good training partner, is like, honestly, it's like the other people. It's like having a good girlfriend. You have to trust
It's a good analogy.
you have to trust that person, and they're going to trust that they have the same plan as you, and they're willing to watch you succeed. Sometimes I've done it. I mean,
That's
he
the
does
hard
it.
thing.
Step aside. It's his prep. That day, I don't have to squat as much. I can step aside, and it's about him. He does the same thing for me. There's that, okay, it's your heavy leg day. He doesn't squat that day because it's about me. It's all about wrapping my knees, spotting me, make sure that everything's done. And we do it for each other. And again, you develop that trust, and then you get to know the person. I know you can't do that today.
Keeping
I
the
can
trust
see.
and still keeping the competitive edge.
Right, exactly.
You get to celebrate somebody else's
Of course.
success.
Of course.
And I think, that's kind of something that, as I've, in my sport, when I first got into it, there was a lot of camaraderie. There was.
Right.
And then it just disappeared because it became,
Commercialized.
yes. And I remember when it just kind of vanished, and you see people nowadays, and it just seems like, there's part of what we do that, you can't lift heavy without a partner. I mean, that's just an obvious thing.
Right.
And then who is your partner?
Right.
Is it somebody that, like you said, can trust you, will help you, if you get injured?
And the hard part too, hey, that's not working.
You're not you beat me to it. Not trying to sabotage you.
Exactly.
Because you'll think somebody's on your side and they're secretly sabotaging.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's
Well, so as you're here, and we have somebody out there that's saying, "Hey, I would like to get into powerlifting." What would be your ABCs and helping them through? Because one of the things that I think we're all seeing in sports that we love. I'm seeing it in bodybuilding through the NPC IFBB. There's a lot of allegations now about things that went on wrong.
Right.
And so I mean, I'm an NPC IFBB athlete. And I would recommend it, but nowadays, look people in the face, and I'm not sure I can.
Right.
And are those allegations true? I don't know. I know all the people involved, and I would, I know the industry, and I know the egos, and I know the things, and so I'm sitting on the sideline going, hey, maybe it's a new adjustment. I was there when the AAU and the NPC broke,
Right.
but at the same time, you don't throw away the whole.
The baby without the bathwater.
Yes.
That's bad water. Yeah, exactly. So I think just to touch slightly on it, because I know it's a sensitive subject also, and I'm also a judge for the United States Powerlifting Association. So I have to watch what I say.
Sure,
also,
I get it.
I like to be respectful. But just like any other federation, there's good people. There's in any sport, good people, bad people. I know for the most part, for the part that I've been involved, I've never seen any ill, intention from any ref or any. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'd like to praise the, most of the time, Lord and Peyton put on a great event here locally here. I mean, we got Ken Wheeler, we have Scotty, we have legends in powerlifting here that I've been very, very lucky and fortunate to learn from. But what I would tell people, honestly, I would be more concerned about getting proper knowledge first. Getting proper knowledge before you get involved in trying to be on social media taking pictures about this and that. Educate yourself on how to properly do the 3 movements. Number 1. If that entails, depending on your level, your skill level, if that entails finding a coach, if that entails picking up a book, asking for help, there is plenty of resources here in town. Plenty of resources. Ask, train as much as you can, pick as many brains as you can. Nobody knows everything.
So in powerlifting, would you say, because I dabbled in powerlifting, but not like you guys did, because bodybuilding was a byproduct of powerlifting.
Right.
When I did it, I mean, you lifted heavy weights and
but that's a completely different
you
goal.
could do this too. And so we all, either people stayed. I mean,
it's a completely different goal. Also, tell people, bodybuilding, you're training the muscle. Yeah. Powerlifting, you're training the movement. Yes. There's a difference. Just a tiny
That's
difference.
a good way to put it.
It is.
So-
So what I tell people, this is why I send people to Steve and Sportslanders West, because we can trust him. I know now through relationship, yours, Evans, Lord, Steve, that NOS Power
Right.
is a place where you can go. And I was in there with Steve. We were shooting our promo, and it's like it's funny because I've been in the West Side Barbell Club. I never had to work out.
Right.
Look, I got an invitation. I went
Right.
there and I was like worried, like they're gonna want me to live.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no. So somebody wanted to talk, and I did it.
Right.
So everybody was like, it was that feeling of intimidation.
Yes, it
was.
is crazy.
So when I
isn't
went
it?
into NOS, I was like, wow, this is like a really cool gym where you can slam some iron around, but then looking around, you had guys that were there that you could also know would help you. And I always tell people you learn more with your eyes in a gym than you do with anything
Right.
else. And I go, when you go up, find the guys that look like they know what they're doing, go up to them. And I do believe if you're respectful, you'll be received well.
We have, I know, I have, especially me and Evan, have that whole reputation that we walk around like we're scum. But if you 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I have a really busy schedule, and I am thinking about what I'm going to do next. But everybody can tell you that if you walk up and ask something, and if I have the time, we'll make the time for you. Try to show you. We try to do that on purpose so that there's plenty of knowledge in that gym. But also I always tell people, if I don't know it, we'll go find the answer together.
And you know what you're doing is you're leaving a trail for others to follow. And I think as a lot of people know who you guys are in town, it's one of those things where, it's nice when you do something to a degree, which you both have done, and then people are able to follow. Sometimes it leaves you even a little bigger footprint.
Right.
Like we all know records do get broke.
Right. Oh, yes.
They're meant to be.
They're meant to be.
And through our sports, either through nutrition or supplements or something else, people will do that. But it's the others that follow in your footsteps that can say, hey, I remember talking to Steve, I remember talking to Eduardo, I remember these guys, and they gave me some tips that allowed me to blossom.
I will say that's a good thing. That's how you know you have a good coach.
Yes.
A good coach isn't afraid of you surpassing them.
Yes, that's true.
You run into a lot of, and I had that discussion earlier with somebody, and I said, a lot of times people will help you, but they don't want you to get past them.
Right.
A good coach will be happy that you've passed them and will compliment you and cheer you on as you're passing them up. So you run into a lot of things, and you'll see this a lot, especially when you're working with somebody who's still in their competitive side. When they're still competing, and you get in Ed's position, stronger than him, and all of a sudden your coaching goes to caca.
But can't we all say we've heard the footsteps?
Of course.
I tell
course.
people, wasn't my performance that so much wanted me to retire. I saw the Sean Ray train coming.
Right.
Right. I saw a 19-year-old in the Orange County went, what the heck?
Right.
But I'm just saying, I just heard the footsteps,
Right.
and but you sit there and you applaud that.
But it's exactly.
That's
and
what you're supposed to do.
Because it's supposed to happen.
But
Yes.
it's supposed to happen. None of us is made out of metal. We're human.
Flesh and blood.
You're trying to get the best out of your specific set of God-given skills that you can.
Yes.
As for
That's
as
a
long
good
as you
point.
can, and enjoy it. If you can't
Oh my
enjoy
gosh,
it, that's the thing.
that's
If you
huge.
can't enjoy it while it's happening, you'll never enjoy it because you'll never have pleasant memories.
Yes.
You got to try to enjoy it while it's happening, and that itself is work. While it's happening, to try to enjoy it, it's work in itself. So, yeah, I'm not concerned about the guy coming behind me. He's going to catch me at some point. But if I don't stop and enjoy what I'm doing too, it's like,
What I love, and Steve and I talked about it, I think last week when we just did a Trash or Cash. Strength training is getting the place I think it's always deserved. People are realizing, and I love the fact that my daughter Taylor, who got born with my genetics,
right,
she's heavily muscled.
right,
And as I saw her weigh a little more on the scale than other girls, I always knew that she had, she had a more heavily dense muscle. But when she started lifting, and she started going towards powerlifting movements, and I always told her, and Steve and I've always said this, that the beauty is in muscles that are developed completely.
Right.
I mean, you go to the animal world, you see an animal that's developed, or
Right.
It's taken its physique because of its survival technique
Exactly.
to its most. You see that, and I'm glad that women are seeing that. They're recognizing that if I lift heavy weights, the worry thing they're always worried about is I don't want to be too big. Well, don't worry, because you're not going to get too big.
Going to get too big.
But it's neat that it's the one thing that burns calories more than any cardio you can do all day long.
Preach.
And
Keep
more,
preaching.
more efficiently after you stop the activity.
Yes.
So for a longer period after you've done. So
mean
if
you
you
stay in the
run,
metabolic window?
the metabolic
Yeah.
window longer if you just do some resistance training.
Yes, and you get it all day long, 24/7. And so when women are finding this out, I love the fact that they're gravitating to it. The other day she came home and she had told me she could do so much clean and jerk, and I go, so I've always been the guy. Let's see it. And she did it, and I was like, "Well, honey, I'm so proud of you,"
Right.
because it's. I know the effort that takes. I mean, it wasn't a big lift.
15 years ago, women were frowned upon for lifting, just as little as 15 years ago.
Well, it's like they get up in the morning and look at the scale. If you do this, it's like the biggest defeat that you can have.
Worst.
But it should.
Your body has a 5-pound swing, no matter what.
Right.
And you tell people just train resistance training and let the results just happen.
Right.
And it's funny because my wife got stuck in that era where scales in the morning, and I would just say that, and both my girls would say that hurt us.
Scales in the morning and tiny waist, and
Yes.
it's
Not eating much,
Right.
but if you strength train, you can eat food.
exactly.
It's amazing how that works. I think
eat
that's
more
why
food.
that's why I like to lift weights.
Exactly. It's funny. My daughter, my oldest, she's straight from it. She just started coming back again, and it's like, but the same thing. She's her mom is like, you got your dad's legs. I go, yes, she does. Yes, she does.
They're heavily muscled.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You'll appreciate them.
So and she just started coming back. She kind of lost it for a little bit and come. You take your time. You have
Children are
a whole
supposed to figure it
life.
out.
Yeah, you have a
Yes.
whole lifetime. You're 21. 21.
My wife and I were working out when I always tell this when she was pregnant with my oldest daughter Taylor, and she was squatting, and my wife could legitimately squat 2 1/4, and she was pregnant. The guy came over and goes, "Honey, I don't think you should do this," and she's like, "Why?"
Exactly.
He didn't have an answer.
Exactly.
me a reason
He had
why.
no reason why, and he walked away. And I go, "What was going on there? Is he hitting on you?" And she goes, "No."
Right.
He just told me I probably shouldn't be doing this. I go, and she was asking why, and he didn't have an answer. I go, exactly.
Exactly. Because it's
Her doctors, her pediatrician said, don't do anything new, but if you've been doing it, keep doing it.
Exactly.
And my wife took it literally. And I'm
It makes for an easier labor.
That's-
It makes for a quicker recovery. It's proven. That
biggest thing.
part's
There's-
proven.
Everybody's, Western society where he's wearing this medicine because your ankles are swollen because of this. Then it's like, go out for a walk when you're pregnant. Go do this. Because right now, I can bet you money there is a 20-something-year-old woman in Vietnam that's 9 months pregnant who is squatting down to a full squat picking rice all day long.
Yes.
And she's perfectly healthy.
Yes. Absolutely. We take that overboard because we don't understand it.
Right.
And then women are doing it, and that's why I was there when the women were not in the gym, and I'm there now. The women are in. I'm loving that they're finding a interest and a fascination and results from what you guys have done, because it's really, there again, and you talked about bodybuilding, and we could go in so much, but it was the byproduct of powerlifting. I'm telling you, when I first started competing, there was a powerlifting meet, and oh, by the way, we did a little bit of bodybuilding in between it's the way it was.
Right.
And I'm glad to see it swing back now to be a true, sport.
Well, the cool thing about powerlifting
lifting
is
weights.
there's nobody to judge you.
Right.
You get 3 white lights or you
Yes.
don't.
Right.
Well, I got to be on the. I helped the IOC try to decide if bodybuilding was going to get in. I've told this story before, and based on the judge that was issued to bodybuilding was following me around, we weren't getting in.
Right.
And one day he said, "Tom, is there anything else that happens?" And I go, "Why?" He goes, "Well, the winner gets booed." How do we explain to our viewing audience that no one's clapping for this guy? He goes, do you guys do anything like, do you explode on stage? Divers make a big splash.
Right. Exactly.
Jumpers knock something over.
Right.
Gymnasts, do you guys do anything extra? I go, no, that's it.
That's it.
And like, it's too subjective. And I
It's
go,
too
"It is."
subjective. That's the problem.
It is, and that's why I love you guys have 3 lights.
That's the problem. It's again.
And we're supposed to have 7 judges.
Right. And I've done both.
Supposed to.
Now I've done both in my life. Obviously, I've done a little bit more than powerlifting younger when I did bodybuilding, but that's why I tell people the difference. Well, like powerlifting, I have control,
Yes,
more control
you do.
over my destiny.
Absolutely.
If
Listen to this, man.
Two guys were in the same weight class. All I got to do is lift more weight than him.
Yes.
And none of the people that are sitting there, none of the judging, whether they like me or not, can take that away because I just did more than him.
Okay.
Well, in bodybuilding, unfortunately, and it's been shown, even I've been so disappointed in the last few years that it's just like it's about popularity contest now.
He didn't like the way you smiled back.
It's almost like they're trying to second guess what everybody else wants. And of course, everybody says we're voting the way Jim Manuel wants. Well, I think there's some merit to that.
Right.
Because people want to be in his favor. But I don't know if Jim really has a favorite. I mean, I know Jim personally. I don't know if he's got like, I want that body style to win.
Right.
Is he still invested?
And that's
other
the thing.
than there's invested and there's invested.
Right.
And so it's like Steve and I've talked about, and you've experienced it too. You look down, the guys not even looking at you, like, oh man, I lost that vote.
But he's judging you.
Exactly.
And you're sitting there, and if I got a green light, I did it.
Right.
But it's up to me.
Right.
To do it.
And if I get a red, I get to walk over and ask a legitimate question like, why did you red me?
Right.
Your hips weren't low enough. You leaned forward.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a legitimate answer.
Not, you need to work on your calves.
Exactly.
Okay. So could you help me with that?
Exactly. It's that's the difference. I mean, I think it's talking about bodybuilding. I think we talked us to death. The last decent era was the 90s.
Uh-huh.
As far as I'm concerned, in 2000s it started getting with the bloating and but it's just when Weider went away, when he passed away, it turned more into a business. And as a business, you create more categories because it creates more income. Now every other swimmer that graduates college can be in their own class because now they don't have to work their legs. Or this class because they don't have to do this. We had a friend, Pat, took him 7 years to crack the NPCs. Remember back in the day, there was 3 pros a year, 3 pros a year.
I was in that.
You were in that category.
That was it.
You weren't getting a pro card. It was you had to wait your turn.
You had to wait your turn, and that's I get the business part of it, but to me, it took the legitimacy of bodybuilding away a little bit.
It did. I mean, it's a hard sport to understand anymore.
It is.
Because they still say size separation and symmetry, but that's all relative within its own category.
Exactly.
It's like there's 10 categories.
Exactly.
That's each one of those.
Exactly.
And so it is. So Steve, you take you walk us out, and then let Ed have the last comment.
I think with Ed, the beautiful thing is he's still strong.
I know.
And it's beautiful. He is something to look up to.
Yes, I agree.
We all have to figure out what we're going to do in life, and to see this for the youngsters out there. This is what you should be striving for: longevity in the sport.
Yes.
Too many people are trying to run as fast as they can to get to the finish line. The finish line is way over there, right. and this is a testament to longevity. So you might want to find somebody like him or him and longevity. Yeah. And as you were saying about powerlifting and the beautiful of it, that's one of the great things about social media. Social media has opened a lot of eyes to see that this is an accomplished sport, and it's one of the cool things about it.
I think it's one of the oldest, isn't it?
Getting there, it's got to be.
I think
it was up front, then it went to the basement.
Well, I think every sport receives benefits from your sport,
right?
Because it's lifting, and it's now being recognized as something that attributes to anything that muscles are involved with.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Like I said, Weider, killed it off, and it went in the back, and now it's back to the forefront because it's awesome that women get to see it and they get to live it. And my girlfriend, her little crew. They have it's a whole little female powerlifting crew, and I
We
think
got to
it's
get them in.
I think it's neat. Yes, I
You
think
two
it's,
should do. You guys should host that show,
yeah,
Steve.
and I think it's
Priscilla,
awesome.
We need you in.
I think it's awesome that women empowerment. You know, you hear it so much, but here it is, something that actually gives women empowerment, legitimate power.
That comes along handy in everyday life.
Of course, confidence-wise.
The other day, my wife had a pair of high heels on, and she brought something in. I go, "Why didn't you ask me help?" She goes, "I didn't need your help with it."
Exactly.
It helped her. She didn't have to ask me to, and she just I picked it up and carried it in. I go, "Well, it looks heavy."
Right.
And it was a moment. I was like, "You're strong. You worked out.
Right.
You can handle this."
And Ed, you got anything you just want to say? Just you.
No, honestly, I am. Every day I still wake up and I'm blessed that I've been able to do this. But I've met, it's not an accident. It's the people, I've met some really good coaches along the way that I've been able to draw some intelligent knowledge that keeps you healthy and puts everything in perspective. Yes, I'm a powerlifter, but I'm a dad and I got a job and I do this and during the day, and stuff. This is something that I do, that I still do. And there's going to be, probably the thing to understand is that there's going to be some lean years. You're not always going to be this strong. And every time you're not going to be as strong forever. You got to peak. For a meet, you go like this and then you have to peak and then it drops down again, back down a little bit.
I can't PR every weekend?
No, you cannot. It's physically impossible. But if you take care of yourself and then you find intelligent training partners and you train with purpose, you can still accomplish things like this. I'm not the only one. There's people around town that are still doing great things. I mean, Nick this weekend, he's 242 and he's still deadlifting 700 pounds. I mean, Robert Lee, they're still doing it. And Robert's in his 40s, I'm not the only one here. We've just kind of figured out how to do it that it fits us, and you're doing it in somewhat of an intelligent manner. And there's 100 different ways to train.
I love it. How do they get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you?
Honestly, the best way to do is just head to NAS Power.
I love it. NAS Power is over there.
Resonant Court.
Resonant Court.
Yes.
Yep. Lord does a great job. There again, I like you.
It's the feeling of family when you walk in there. That's what I like most about it.
No, it is. And that's what I love seeing you guys. Because that's something that fell out of the bottom of my sport. You know, because you go in a gym and you don't have that. But I saw that day that we went into your gym, and not me, but with you, people like the recognition, the thing. Right. It becomes family again, right. and that was such a big part of it. It's community. Everybody out there needs community. Right. A weightlifting family is a great place to be with NOS Power, where you get to meet experts like Steve and Ed, Lord, Evan. Evan, I want to talk to you. Call me. I miss you.
I'll give him a hard time.
No, seriously. I love that, man. So there again, love you showing up. If you have any questions, as Steve usually says, put them in our comments. Anything that you would like to see on the show, let us know, and we'll try to make it happen.
And if you want to see some really amazing things by an amazing man, go check out his social media page, Edward Martinez.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your social? What's your IG?
MCHANGO.
No, say Mchango. Would you say what it is?
Mchango. I love it.
Number 2, yeah.
Yeah, so watch him pick up almost 800 pounds.
I love it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.